Tell me about your meeting with Councilman Martin.
We met with him about 2 weeks ago after he called and let us know that he was introducing an ordinance to ban saggy pants.
Ordinance is an amendment to deal with undergarments. You see it there, number 4.
Well, the first issue is how broad and vague the statute is. It applies to the exposure of any undergarment. I don't know, are socks considered undergarments?
We wanted to put the ordinance in to start a conversation. This is a public issue because the young people and others are doing it in the public.
Well, then what he should have done, and we told him this, was to introduce a resolution if all he wants is to have a conversation. The problem is what he's introduced would be a law, and it would be a vague law, and that's unconstitutional.
In Councilman Martin's proposal, he cites Del Cambre, Louisiana, a town with a population of just 2,000 residents, as his prototype. Atlanta, Georgia is the 8th biggest metropolis in the U.S.
Now, as far as enforcement, we know that this is one would not be a crime against people, it would not be a crime against property.
With the ACLU, we have tremendous concerns that police could use this abusively because it's so vague, because nearly everyone at some point exposes an undergarment, even if unintentionally. You bend over to pick up a quarter and off the sidewalk and your pants split. Do you get carted off to jail or not?
What's your thoughts on the criticism that insists that your proposal gives way to racial profiling?
Well, you know, I'm not going to discuss that because, as I said before, if you want to make that case, then you would say then doctors shouldn't wear a certain uniform.
That style of dress, even though you can find instances of people from all walks of life who might dress that way, overwhelmingly, we all know who dresses that way. It's young black men. And what it would do is to arm the police officers to arrest young black men for no other reason.
This is City Hall right here in downtown Atlanta, where I met with Councilman Martin, and now I'm going to walk down the street to try to find some guys who are wearing their pants just a little too low. I'm going to introduce them to the issue and get some perspective on their personal style.
I mean, we got bigger issues to address and bigger issues going on than how we dress. That's nothing. I mean, they had their certain style back in their days.
This is how I just feel comfortable. I like Jabos, I like Jordans.
I think it's stupid. Those are freedom. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say.
My thoughts on it, like, you should be able to wear whatever you want to wear, whether your pants saggy or pulled all the way up to the top, however you want to do it. It's America, you know what I'm saying? And you target out one specific culture, I mean, before it's all over with, you might as well call it America, the home of the communists.
Do you think that this is simply just a classic misunderstanding between generations?
Councilman Martin is many things. He's not a racist, right? He's a very nice man. He's a very well-intentioned man, right? But I think certainly there is a generational aspect to this. An older generation is upset with the clothing and fashion decisions, the rebellious decisions of a younger generation. There is nothing new about that. You mentioned hot pants. In an earlier generation, parents were upset that their kids wore blue jeans. In an earlier generation, parents were upset that their kids wore zoot suits. There is nothing new about this, except that this is the first time that the older generation has decided to make their kids into criminals.